Hi everyone, it's Alana Ruoso, and I tried this Facebook Live yesterday and there was no sound, so I'm trying it again today and hopefully you can hear me, and if you can give me a like or a thumbs up or something so I know. So yesterday or on Wednesday I did a blog post and it was on charging more, and the story that I write about is one specific instance where I caught myself realizing, well actually my client caught me not charging enough in one specific area of my business. So generally I spend a lot of time kind of analyzing my fees and making sure that I'm charging what I'm worth. And it kind of brought up a few different things, because in this one particular instance, I was not charging this one client. My prices hadn't really increased because she's a friend, so it was a little bit different. So I tell that story in my blog, so you can head over to my website, which is alanaruoso.com, and read that. But what it made me think about is a little bit of a bigger picture conversation, which is about value and time, and how if you're an entrepreneur, you really have to look at them a little bit differently than most traditional people. So most people go on an hourly rate, and that's really how they define what they're worth, and that's what they're comfortable with. And I'm here to tell you that I don't think it really matters how much time something takes you, especially when it's something that doesn't take you a lot of time. So that's what I'm really talking about today. There is a feeling that you should only charge a lot of money if something takes you a lot of time. So if it doesn't take you a lot of time, most people are just like, well, it took me 15 minutes. But the expertise and the level that you need to execute something and do it well, it's really about your experience and your ability as opposed to the time. And so this is best illustrated through one story, which kept popping up into my head. So I'll tell this quick story and then I'd love to hear your thoughts. So I did work as an art director in publishing for a long time, and we did a lot of book covers. And the way publishing works is there is a flat rate per book cover when you commission it to either a photographer or an illustrator to do it. And it doesn't really matter what's required in the illustration, there's a flat rate, and how the photographer or illustrator uses that money is up to them. So if they have to hire models, that comes out of their budget. This is the industry standard for book publishing. Flat rate, you have to execute it. One particular line of books I was working on, there was a series in it, and the images were really simple. They were a floral photograph, a photograph of flowers, and a few Photoshop filters. No models were being used, really, really simple. And it worked for this particular author, worked for the marketing purposes. And interestingly, another art director, we were kind of always pressured to cut, well, budgets were always being cut, that's the way it is. Book covers now, you make way less than you would have a few years ago, and more is expected. One of the art directors said, well, you know, I think we should be paying this person less, this particular illustrator, for this series, because really all it is a Photoshop, an image photoshopped and a few filters put on top of it. So it's probably taking him like 1 to 2 hours, as opposed to maybe a regular book cover would take an artist, let's say 15 to 20 hours. And I immediately got my back up. This actually really upset me. I immediately thought, I really don't care how long it takes this guy to do the illustration. What I want is the book cover. I want an amazing book cover, and the value of it, oh, saying thanks, that means you can hear me. And so the value of that is that it's an amazing cover, it's going to sell books, it's going to move the product that I need it to. Why do I care how long it took this person to do it? And why should they be paid less because it took them less time? That makes absolutely no sense to me. That's like, there's too much obsession with how much time something takes you and the value and what you need to be paid. And I really, this is really a conversation starter, because a lot of the things we do, especially when we're good at it, actually don't take as much time. But you should be actually charging more because you're probably really good at it. So for instance, when I started design work 20 years ago, well, obviously I charged a lot less than I do now, but what I'm executing now probably takes me literally 10% as long as it would have 20 years ago. So I don't know how I came up with those numbers, but that's what I'm estimating. Things that took me 10 hours years ago probably take me 1 to 2 hours now, generally. But I, obviously charge a lot more. The challenge becomes perceived value of something. So that is, there's this whole notion of just charge someone what you think you're worth. I mean, I think I write about this in the blog. The more I think about this phrase, I think it's just total bullshit. I just think like makes no sense, because no matter what we have, it's a perceived value of something. And some people will not value what you do, and some people will value what you do. Tons of people out there have zero interest and zero value in design, and those haven't been my clients in the past, and it never really works out. There's some people that really value coaching and see the value, what it's worth now, and are willing to pay for it, and some won't, no matter what you do. But I'm challenging you guys to stop thinking about hourly rate, and just catch yourself if you think you're charging less for something because it's not taking you a lot of time, and it's just really common. So get out of that mentality of, well, it took me 1 hour, so I should charge $100 or something like that. Well, actually, what are you providing for that person? Are they getting something that's gonna have residual benefit going on and on? Can you charge more and it be fair? So the word fair comes up for me a lot. That's a personal thing. As I said, I get really I'm getting a little fired up lately. Charge what you're worth. Well, we're all kind of priceless, and I say that, and that sounds kind of lame, but you know, at the end of the day, we do need to put a price on things, but you know, what we do really is invaluable. But so what I want you guys to think about again is look at your time, look at your value, and where you may be undercharging or undercutting because it's not taking you a lot of time. And then also check out that blog that I wrote, because it's going to look at maybe where the cracks are in some of your charging practices. And it really did enlighten me to look at some of those little cracks in my foundation, because I do believe that kind of how you do anything is how you do everything. So sometimes if you start to notice little cracks and fix those, then it starts to mush a boom and everything starts to kind of course correct. But I find that really interesting, and I love your thoughts, whether you think maybe that artist should be getting paid less if it doesn't take them that long. But I think that book cover was a great example, because it's always stayed with me, and I think that's what's interesting about the story. So I will be popping up into Facebook Live a little bit more in the next while, but thank you guys for joining me tonight. I'm not going to keep you long, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.